And with reports that the quarterback wanted the Packers general manager fired. And meanwhile, team president Mark Murphy wrote on the team website, quote, "We remain committed to Aaron in 2021 and beyond." While Matt LaFleur told reporters, quote, "I can't even take my brain to that spot right now," when discussing the possibility of Rodgers not being on the team. Shannon, what happens next?
I believe someone's going to have to go. I believe Aaron Rodgers knows two of the higher-ups are lying. Only Matt LaFleur realizes how special Aaron Rodgers is after working with him, being with him on a day-to-day. These other two guys are lying, and I believe Aaron Rodgers knows they're lying. Skip, this is what I have a hard problem understanding. Now, over the last couple of months, Mark Murphy has said he, Brian Gutekunst, and Matt LaFleur have each taken turns to come to California from Wisconsin to visit with Aaron Rodgers to try to reassure him everything's okay.
Yep.
But last year when you took a quarterback, you couldn't even pick up a phone to call him. So let me get this right. Now, this is our guy. He's going to be our guy from 2021 and beyond. But you move up in the draft to take a quarterback, and you didn't even have the courtesy to call him. Why? Nobody believes. And Aaron Rodgers said it. He said, after the season I threw a wrench in somebody's program. A lot of people thought I was probably done. Who you thought he was talking about? He wasn't talking about the casual fan. He wasn't talking to the people in the NFL. He was talking to Mark Murphy, and he was talking to Brian Gutekunst. That's who he was talking to. They believed he was done. That's why they took Jordan Love.
Yep.
Now, we have the utmost confidence in him. We want him to be our quarterback from 2021 and beyond. No, you didn't. Because if you wanted that, you wouldn't have taken a quarterback. You wouldn't have traded up to get a quarterback. You thought Aaron Rodgers was washed. That's what you thought.
Well, they did.
Exactly.
What did they just seen in the NFC Championship game at San Francisco? Yeah. We're going back a year.
Even though, look, think about what happened. Jimmy Garoppolo threw 8 passes, and they scored 44 points.
They did.
So they got run off the field.
And Aaron Rodgers threw 2 interceptions and had a QBR of 23 on a scale of 0 to 100, which is just pathetic.
He did throw for that 338. Mm-hmm. Well, okay, that's not here. No, okay. He went to the NFC. Think about it now. He went to the NFC Championship game. He was 26 touchdowns with 4 picks. Mm-hmm. Now he almost doubled that with 48 touchdowns and 4 picks. Normally, if you go to the NFC Championship game, NFC Championship game, they're not looking to replace their quarterback. Now, this is what we know. Alex Smith knew the Chiefs weren't committed to him beyond because they traded up to get who, Skip? Pat Mahomes. The quarterback in Houston knew they weren't committed to him because they traded up to get who? Deshaun Watson. When you trade up to take a quarterback, you can say all you want because it sounds good. But Aaron Rodgers knows why you did what you did. So my only question is to you, Packers brass, why is it so important for you now to fly all cross country, showing up at this man's doorstep to try to convince him when you couldn't even give him a courtesy of a phone call? You could have saved yourself all these headaches had you just reached out and said, Aaron, look, we still believe in you, but we'd like to take a quarterback in the draft. You're going to be our guy. We're going to commit to you, but we're going to take a quarterback. But you take a quarterback, and then you're like, well, hey, we don't talk about such and such a guy. We don't know all this. So Aaron is like, Skip, I believe the hard part about firing Gutekunst is that if you fire him, you basically said Aaron Rodgers is in control here. And you've done everything you could over the past 2 years to seize that control from Aaron.
That is correct.
Now Aaron's like, okay, either he go or I go. Now, the question is, Skip, who do you have more confidence in over the next 3 years? Do you believe in the GM or you believe in Aaron Rodgers? I'm taking Aaron Rodgers, but I don't see how they work together because Aaron Rodgers doesn't trust him. I know Aaron doesn't think he does. He knows he can't get Mark Murphy fired, but he believes he can get Brian Gutekunst up out of there.
I'll buy that, and that might happen. But I'm going to begin my response to Jenny's question with a tidbit, just a tidbit from our friend Lil Wayne, who's obviously the world's biggest Packer fan. He knows a lot of people sort of inside and around the Green Bay Packers. He has been hearing that they are higher than ever on Jordan Love. Don't have much to show for it because they didn't even play a preseason game last year. But this is just from practice as they got later and later in the year, and he's running scout team, right? But they began to like his composure a little better, albeit just against the Green Bay defense in practice. to the point they see some flashes, and I don't want to overstate this from Lil Wayne, but some flashes of Mahomes. Big arm, big talent. I don't even know him from Utah State. I did not watch it, so I don't know enough to know, but that's what Lil Wayne is hearing.
Right.
And his ear is to that ground on the frozen tundra. So he's hopeful that if this goes completely south and Aaron is out of there sooner than later, that at least they have something that they could hold on to in Jordan Love. Well, I don't know. I mean, he is Aaron freaking Rodgers, right? So to your point, I told you they were ready to part ways a year ago.
Yes.
Because his stats had declined for 5 straight years. They still look good, touchdowns, interceptions. I give you that. And they still went 13-3, so that works.
Right.
But we kept saying, boy, they're kind of a, you know, like a mirage of a 13-3, right? It just didn't look legit to either one of us. And finally, they get to San Francisco, and they got exposed in every way, shape, and form. He did not play well, but they didn't play well, and they could not stop the run, as you said.
Right.
Okay, so now they're ready to go, and then he throws the monkey wrench. It was the ultimate touche. He's a unanimous runaway MVP this year, and it's just hard to argue with that until the playoffs. And they were lucky that they got the Rams with Jared Goff with a screw in his thumb, and Aaron Donald had cracked ribs, and I couldn't even see him. I couldn't find him in the game, so that was a break for them. And then obviously they finally get their home NFC Championship game that Aaron had always, as he said that week, dreamed of, and he wasn't very good, especially in the fourth quarter, especially in that sequence, first and goal at the 8 with 2:22 left, and it all blew up. And he had a QBR 68, which is not great for him in that game, and so he's now 1-4 in championship games. He's 9 touchdowns to 8 interceptions in those 5 championship games. And the one that he won was against Caleb Haney in place of Jay Cutler, obviously, in the second half at Chicago. And they went on to win the Super Bowl a long time ago. So they're saying, gee, he's hard to get along with, and he hasn't given us the bang for the buck in the postseason. So to me, it feels so ugly right now that I'm thinking that it's going to go so far south they're going to deal him sooner than later.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And for a while I was thinking they'll just say, no, you're our quarterback. And they may still dig in and say, you're going to be our quarterback. Well, if it comes to that, would he hold out? And the other thing is, now that he's got the Jeopardy possibility to be a permanent host of Jeopardy, I don't think he'll get the job, but you could be right. Maybe he will. We'll see.
I still believe he might pull a Carson Palmer.
Okay, well, then that would just be, I quit.
I quit.
Right?
Yeah. So you know what I mean? It's I quit. Now, look, what y'all going to do?
He does have a lot else going on in his life. He has other interests than obsessing with football, and he's, 37 years of age? So it wouldn't shock me if he quit. But your Denver Broncos are sitting there. I could not believe that with the 9th overall pick, the reason I didn't think they were going to take Patrick Surtain, I thought they'd just say, thank you, God, we got Justin Fields. And they didn't.
With a chance to get Aaron Rodgers?
Okay, because they did acquire Teddy Bridgewater, obviously, on top of Drew Lock. Again, I respect Teddy Bridgewater. He's a good player.
Right.
He will give you all he's got.
You're not winning a championship with Teddy Bridgewater.
No, but he's respectable.
Yes.
He will.
Yes.
He'll play. He'll give you all he's got.
Yes.
And you could, I don't know, in that division, it's a tough division. Could you finish 8-8 with Teddy? Sure, you could.
Yeah.
And the team, thanks to Patrick Surtain and others that they've added, it's going to be very good around the quarterback.
And if what they're saying is true, he mentioned the Broncos, the 49ers, and the Raiders. Now, Skip, for me, I bet Kyle Shanahan wished, man, why didn't you tell me this earlier? Because I would have definitely given you those 2 first-round picks for Aaron Rodgers.
Well, that John Lynch said he called on draft day that afternoon and said, hey, what can we talk about
Skip,
here?
Skip, all you got is the 3rd-round pick. Now, just imagine if he says, okay, what if he said, you know what?
They'd already given that.
Right. If he'd held on to his picks and said, I'll give you 12 this year, I'll give you the #1 pick the following year and a 2nd-round pick. Does Green Bay make that? But Green Bay probably wants to get him out of the NFC.
Okay.
That's probably how Green Bay wants to do it. I don't see them doing what the Cowboys doing. Hey, Skip, you in my division. Hey, you want to make a deal? I got a deal for you. Yeah.
Okay, so the point is, what would your Broncos give up for this guy? It would be Peyton all over again.
Yeah, given his age, Skip, I would give you a 1st, a 2nd, 1st, and a 3rd, given his age. Now,
would you give 2 firsts? Would you give the next 2 years firsts?
I might be willing to do that because I'm saying they're going to be in the 20s. They're going to be in the 30s. So, yeah, I would. I'll give 2 firsts.
You would need Aaron to have a new chip on his shoulder and to be recommitted to football at age 37 where he could give you 3 big years.
You know Aaron is a guy that wants to prove people wrong.
Yeah.
He would go